What's up YouTube, Dow here from Zephyr Wargames, and today I'm bringing you another live duel from locals. On the top we have Charlie playing Kashtira, and on the bottom we have Pasha playing DragonLink. Now obviously it's technically like DragonLink Bystials, but I feel that any DragonLink build is pretty much Bystial nowadays anyway. So it looks like Pasha won the dice roll. Pasha's going to be going first. Unfortunately I didn't have the double mat, so I couldn't see both, like allowing out the play mat for everyone. So we don't get to see Pasha's spells and trap zone. But thankfully, Charlie picks up the spell of the first one that Pasha activates, being Chaos Space, discarding as cost the Dragon Maid, which get responded with a D-Shifter. What? Okay, that's pretty damaging for a DragonLink player because you lose all resource. Like, so that Chaos Space is going to get banished, which means unless Pasha has a Gamma, which it looks like he's resolving the search, which means he doesn't, sadly. It means your Lubellion's offline. It means your Bystials are a lot more difficult to summon and do everything you need with. So it's very, very tricky to see where this is going to go. And if you look at Charlie's hand just then, it looks like he's got Birth, Unicorn, and Fenrir. So that's a pretty strong hand. So Pasha did open up Magnamoots. He's going to banish the Shifter, and he's going to summon out the White Wyvern, which he shuts off Chaos Space. And this is another issue as well, is under Shifter, obviously you don't get the White Wyvern search. He lost the recycle and the draw off of Chaos Space. So the best thing he can do is make spheres. And then the go-to target is either going to be like Goliath or Sloth to stop your opponent going into the extra deck. So it's very important. But it just kind of shows how powerful Shifter is. I mean, I don't know if Shifter's like ban worthy. And what I mean by that is it does require you to have no cards in the graveyard. So it is very tricky to successfully get to that point. So it's like, hard open it or nothing's going to happen. So we move to the end phase. We resolve Magnamoot. Magnamoot is going to be searching out Sodanir. So that's obviously going to be... I mean, it's ineffective right now, this moment, because there's no darks in the graveyard. And even in the Kashtira matchup, it's not the greatest of cards to have. For the pure fact that they're not, like... Unless they go into the extra deck and then you get rid of that extra deck monster, they're never really put in a light or a dark in the graveyard for you to be able to activate it. So, yeah, not ideal. Anyway, special summon out Fenrir. Fenrir effect to special summon out another copy of itself. Such that Ogre. Activate Birth, which basically gives you a normal summon of a level 7 without tribute, broken. And then it can also revive a banished Kashtira. And if that wasn't enough, if your opponent activates a spell card and you control a Kashtira monster, you can banish 3 cards from their graveyard. It's like, as if it needed to have all those little effects rolled into one tidy equation. But still, fairly decent. It's going to be interesting to see where it continues to go from here. The spheres, it's very difficult of when you're going to activate the spheres here, because if you bounce the Fenrir and it's not during the battle phase, Fenrir just gets to summon itself back down again because it's not a once per turn. Because, you know, why would it be? If he bounces the Birth, it just gets activated again. So it looks like Charlie went to battle phase, declared with Fenrir, effectors spheres to tag out and bounce it. It doesn't need to go to the graveyard to get everything it needs, so it still bounces back to Fenrir. It basically means that Charlie was forced to give up a battle phase, but with this current positioning, I don't think it's that bad. And oh my god, it looks like he drew a bloody Shifter for turn, which is ridiculous because it now means that Shifter's online because Pasha banished the first one. He could still get a Soranir on the board, but Soranir is just going to Foolish Burial a card that gets banished, which just doesn't help anyone. I mean, he could go into a rank 6 if Sloth stays... Oh no, he can't even use it because Sloth locks him out of the extra deck. Woof. Okay, so we're going to main phase 2. Charlie decides to special the Ogre. That's interesting. Surprised he didn't go for a Fenrir. I know obviously he still gets an additional normal summon. Because he wanted the trap card. Okay, that makes sense. So the trap card lets you special while it's already face on the field. You can special a Kashtira monster from your hand, or I believe it's graveyard or banished. I think it's one or the two. It doesn't give you both. So that can be a little bit restrictive if not done at the right time. But we're still going to kind of see how it pushes forward and develops from here. So he's going to normal summon the Unicorn. which is good because it will give, if Pasha activates a monster effect, it will give Charlie the ability to look at his extra deck and stack the top 5 cards of his opponent's deck. Well, not stack, but look at the top 5 cards and banish one of them. He also gets to deck Finn by searching out another birth, so should the first birth gets destroyed, he's still good to go again and get an additional normal and everything else under the sun. Unfortunately, he cannot go into the extra deck. If he could have made a very nice rank 7 detach material, bring it back with birth, and it just keeps on going. So we're going to set one. Now we know that's, well, I would assume that's the trap card. Well, that now confirms it is the trap card. So, I mean, that's interesting that it's been revealed that way, because in theory you could have not set that trap card. You could have set something else to kind of bait it out, and if he was going to set another birth to kind of make out a bluff, then it would have been a little bit different. But regardless, Sloth is 0-0. It is keeping the board, or keeping his opponent out of the extra deck at this moment in time. But like I said, the fact that Charlie's got a Shifter, a Unicorn, a Birth, and a Fenrir in his hand is absolutely ridiculous. So it now means that, obviously, unless Charlie wanted to shotgun Shifter early, Pash is going to get the first activation of the turn, which looks like it's going to be Dragonite Knight Romulus. And I believe Charlie wants that to happen so that he can start triggering on a new chain, trigger Ogre and Unicorn. So Ogre will look at the top 5 and banish one of them face down. Unicorn will look at his opponent's extra deck and banish one of it from it face down. So you can take out one of the key components, like with Striker Dragon only at 1, you can take that away straight away. Obviously, the issue that Pasha now has is he needs to get rid of the Sloth, because the Sloth is also stopping him going into the extra deck. Yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. So he's looking at the top 5 now. Believe when it comes back into camera, you just about see, I think it's 2 Bystial Lubellions, which is obviously really good, but Charlie's not going to care because he's got that Shifter, which Pasha doesn't know about. It looks like there was 2 trap. No, what? So a Tracer, a Bystial Lubellion, 1 spell, and 1 trap. I didn't quite see the other card. But yeah, it's pretty damaging. And now he's got to put them back in the same order, which is a bit of an odd effect to have, but it just kind of confirms that they have to go back in the same order, which is interesting to see. I'm not too sure if he chained... Did he chain Unicorn as well? He must not have. So, because obviously if he used Unicorn, he could have looked at his opponent's extra deck and banished another one face down, which, again, would have been very, very damaging. Not that he's going into the extra deck, but... So we've got Dragon's Ravine, and there we go. Second Shifter. That's just... Yeah, that's gnarly. Absolutely gnarly. I'm surprised he didn't... I suppose it discards as cost, so it would have put another monster in Pasha's graveyard. But... Yeah, and I think he's just scooping it there. I don't blame him. Like, 2 Shifters, what are you supposed to do with that? That's just... I mean, the only way you play around that is Foresight, and you put something in. Oh, wow. Charlie got to go first. Ah! And he opened up D-Fissure and Unicorn. This is not what Pasha wants to be facing down. I'm assuming Pasha's hoping that he gets into like a Lightning Storm or an Evenly. He needs to clear that board off. And still, even then, Charlie can still leave the D-Fissure on board or something else like that. But losing an entire graveyard sucks. And then if Pasha does dare to activate a monster effect, he's going to lose one from his extra deck that could be... I think this is the issue with DragonLink against the Kashtiras, is they can't play a lot of multiples because they have such a varied extra deck. And most of the cards are all needed. So he's activating Gamma on the Surge of Unicorn. Okay. I mean, again, it's really interesting, and it's not the greatest because it will stop him getting a spell, but if Charlie's got another Kashtira in the hand, he can just special summon it. Like, oh. Set to D-Fissure, pass. Okay. Evenly matched. Come on, Pasha. Evenly matched. Evenly. It looks like... Oh, wow. 2 D-Fissures and a Sacred Sword. So Sacred Sword of 7 can banish from field or hand to draw 2. Interesting. And then he's got one other set, which I'd assume is an Imperm, but I don't know how much D-Fissure is going to do for him. He'd probably do a huge amount. Because... I mean, it's any monster sent to the graveyard. It's not even from field. That's how stupid that card is. It's like, your Lubellion's dead. There's nothing in the graveyard, so if he's opened up a hand of Bystials, there's no way of triggering those. Yeah. He's going to activate the trap to bring back Unicorn. No effect on Unicorn, but it now puts Charlie in a good position. Did Pasha leave the board open? Oh, no. Oh, he had one. He had a trap. He had a trap card set, which is, I'm assuming, the branded Bystial. Oh, no, it's Rivalry. Okay. Unfortunately, Rivalry does not affect the Kashtiras that much because their main cards are Psychic and their monsters are Psychic. He gets to look at his hand, and the hand was the branded spell cards. It looks like it was Noctivision and one other, which wasn't the greatest. So a hand rip is just, yeah, salt in the wounds. Activate Unicorn, get the birth, activate the birth, and we know he's got Sacred Sword of 7. So, oh, he's going to normal summon. That's interesting. So he normal summons the Fenrir to search. Whereas if he had used, Sacred Sword of 7, he could have banished the Unicorn, drawn 2, specialed the Fenrir, Fenrir searches, and then normal summon, and then you've got the birth to bring back, and you've got the trap as well. So it should have led to OTK if he didn't use up his normal summon. Is he declaring an attack? It looks like he is. He's declaring an attack to banish the trap face down. He's activating the trap card. Is that game? I mean, that's 24 because there's no monsters on the board. 24, 28, and I can't remember what Unicorn is. I think it's like 25. Or is this in the main phase too? I'm so confused because like this could have surely easily been game, right? Pasha didn't use a monster effect, so there was no way triggering that. Unless he trapped in the main phase. Without having the trap in front of me, I can't. I'm pretty sure I remember it saying main phase. But then I can't understand why Charlie would have gone to battle phase, attacked with 2. Here, second D-fissure, just to rub that salt right in there. God, that is savage. I mean, I'm assuming he's on low enough life points, which, again, even at the very least, it would have been 24 and 25, and then Pasha just concedes it there. There's literally nothing you can do. Like, 2 D-shifters, 2 D-fissures, game 1, game 2. The only gamble he made was by letting Charlie go first in game 2, but Pasha's open hand just wasn't strong enough to even deal with that, and it looked like called by Soronir, branded spell, and black collapse, so like none of that's working at all. And then obviously he had rivalry as well. Sad, but that's the way of it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.